What is happening, YouTube? Cowboy here, and welcome back to another build video. Today, we're taking a look at the Bloody Dancer. So this actually started out as a dex build, and then as I continued to play around with it, it ended up evolving into a quality and luck build. And all in all, I gotta say, I was very satisfied with it. It has immense damage potential. It has a focus around bleeds. In PvP, it can kill people in as little as 4 swings. In PvE, it's absolutely brutal and decimates bosses. So, all around, a really fun build to play, and with that being said, let's jump into it. So, as for the stats, the first thing I want to mention is that as this started as a dex build, I started with the Mercenary class, and this particular build would actually be a bit more ideal if you start as a Warrior class, just due to the base stats. So, the main stats you want to focus on here are Endurance, which you're going to want to get up to 40, Strength and Dexterity, you're going to want to get to 35 each, Luck, you're going to want to have at 30, and most importantly, you're going to need to have Hollowing on this build at least at 15. Vigor, we got up to 29, and if I had more points, I would have raised it up higher, but obviously starting as a mercenary, that wasn't possible. Your Attunement, Vitality, Intelligence, and Faith can all be left at base. Just because I did have an attunement slot from starting as a mercenary, I ended up putting on Report just to have a PvE spell there, and even though we don't have the stat requirements right now to use it, we can always put on a Scholar Ring if we want to cast it to just help farm in PvE a little bit. But jumping over to the items that make this work, the first thing I want to point out is, of course, we have the Hunter's Ring giving us 5 Dexterity, and then the Knight's Ring giving us 5 Strength. And this is going to allow us to hit the 40-40 soft caps in Strength and Dex for the quality. Additionally, as you can see, both our right hand and left hand weapons are plus 10 and infused with Hollow. And this is very important because if your Hollowing is at least 15 or higher, a plus 10 Hollow infused weapon will add 5 to luck. As you can see, adding those back on, my luck is jumping back up. And that's very important because we're going to want to have luck at 40 as well. As for the main weapons of the build, we're of course running the Onikiri and Ubadachi, the dual katanas. Now I primarily use these for PvE. In addition, I do have a hollow washing pole plus 10, and the damage is slightly higher, but the bleed a little bit lower, and the main reason for the washing pole is switching to it for gank spanks, just to have a little bit more swing range, allowing me to hit the host and his phantoms at the same time, whereas the Onikiri and Ubadachi are a little bit better for 1-versus-1 focused fights. As for our offhand, we went with the hollow parrying dagger, and the main reason for that over a shield was just the fashion of it. I think that the dagger just looks really good, just kind of blends right into the armor, and I don't have a big ugly shield on my back, so I really liked that. In addition, we have a Black Bow of Ferris at plus 10 just to give us a ranged option, and then because the Mercenary class came with a attunement slot, we chucked on a Pyromancy Flame. As for the fashion, we are of course running the Dancer's Crown, the Dancer's Armor, the Gauntlets, and the Leggings. Now, while that might seem a little bit dull, in my opinion, this is easily one of the most fashionable sets in the game, and especially for a female character, I think it does look really, really amazing. In particular, the way that the veil moves with your character as you turn around and roll and jump through the air, I think looks really cool, and all in all, I think it just brings a very nice visual appeal to the character. As for our other rings, we are running the Ring of Favor and Chloranthy Ring. This character had to go a bit through New Game Plus to get up to 120, so I of course have the plus 1 versions, but the regular versions will be fine. Now this build focuses around doing as much damage as possible with bleeds. In PvP, just doing 2 L1s is generally enough to force a bleed into an opponent. On top of that, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you could start with an R1 and then go into an L1, just because the wind-up on the R1 is a little bit faster than the L1. That being said, for PvP, you can really just L1 your way, or excuse me, PvE, you can pretty much just L1 your way to victory, causing massive amounts of damage and bleed procs, and along with that, make sure you have plenty of Carthus Rouge. I actually just spent about 100,000 souls picking up more. I have something like 200-300 of these in the stash right now, so every time an invasion finishes on up, I have 5 more, and then on top of that, I like running the Kukris because they also can cause bleed, just ensuring that I'm going to get that bleed proc on my opponent. So, now that we have gone through the stats and the fashion, let's face on off and see which dancer is superior. You can see the bleed proc right there. Already a massive amount of damage. 1,600 damage in that first combo. And this build actually does enough damage. Interestingly enough, I kind of wish that I hadn't killed it as fast as I did. but the Crystal Sage, I was actually able to do enough damage that the Crystal Sage wasn't even able to teleport, and it died during its first phase. And that is the Dancer on New Game Plus, decimated. Utterly decimated. So that was obviously a little bit short for the PvE content, and one of the things I wanted to do, especially after the last video, was give you guys a little bit of a better potential of what these builds could do in PvE as well. Alright, to give you a better idea of the PvE, I'm actually going to clear my way over to the bonfire from here, just because reaching this one from the Dancer isn't exactly difficult. But, you know, aside from the massive damage you can do against the boss, the build also just decimates most enemies in PvE. As you can see, we're killing just about all these basic hollows in 2 hits when both weapons connect. Go and take on the Winged Knight real fast here, get him to jump down. You can see right there, 6 L1s, all it took, proc the bleed, that and 1 backstab, more than enough to take him down. And it really is kind of staggering how much damage you can actually do with bleed. And we got an Invader, which is great. Means you'll be able to see this a little bit more in action. I don't know where this Invader is at exactly, so we're gonna kill the Archer. We wait for him to show up. Still no Invader. Starting to wonder where he's at. Now maybe it spawned him in a bit to the back. Invader friend, where are you? Oh, there he is. Come on. Come on. I don't know why he's all the way over there. It's kind of a silly place to bring somebody in. Even without the bleed, you can see tons of stagger potential on enemies. Okay, he dropped down. That means he'll run around, and we should meet him right over here in a moment. And that Invader's dead. Pretty brutal. So either way, we got to show you how brutal it can be against a boss. We got to show you just breezing through an area. We even happened to have a random Invader come along that we ended up slaughtering. So let's show you what this actually does when we're invading instead.